You are not alone. It's a feeling we've all had, a primal instinct that whispers a warning in an empty room. But what happens when that feeling is proven right? When the empty room isn't empty at all? This footage, captured on an ordinary home security camera, shows a quiet, unassuming hallway. A child's toy sits dormant on the floor. It is the picture of stillness. But watch closely. The door at the end of the hall begins to swing. A slow, deliberate creak echoes in the silence, pushed by an unseen force. Then a shadow. It doesn't move with the light. It moves against it. A dark, human-like form glides across the wall, a silhouette with purpose, passing the doorway before vanishing into nothingness. The air grows cold. The toy remains untouched. There was no draft, no open window, no one else home. This was not a trick of the light. It was not a simple explanation. This was a presence. A conscious, intelligent force making itself known. Who or what was this figure? Was it merely passing through, or was it delivering a message from the other side? We want to know what you believe. Was this a ghost caught on camera? Share your opinion in the comments below. Have you ever felt a chill, for no reason at all? A sudden drop in temperature in a warm room. The uncanny sensation that you are not, in fact, alone. We've all heard the stories, seen the movies. But what if I told you that the most compelling evidence for the paranormal isn't found in dusty tomes or fictional tales, but locked within the very walls of our own homes? And sometimes, what's locked inside demands to be heard. This is the story of a family, not unlike your own. They moved into their dream home, a charming, century-old house on a quiet, tree-lined street. It was everything they had ever wanted. Spacious, full of character, with a history they were excited to become a part of. The first few weeks were idyllic. But then, the small things started. It began with the clocks. Every morning, the grandfather clock in the hallway would be wrong. Not just slow or fast, but reset to 3:07 a.m. They'd correct it, wind it, and the next day. 3:07 a.m. They wrote it off as a mechanical quirk, an old clock being an old clock. Then, it was the shadows. Out of the corner of your eye, a fleeting darkness darting from one room to another. The family dog would sit and stare intently at a blank corner of the living room, its head tilted, a low whine forming in its throat. The youngest daughter, a little girl of 6, began having an imaginary friend. She called him the man in the hat. Her parents thought it was cute, a product of a vibrant imagination. They didn't think much of the description. Why a hat? They had no hats like that in the house. The atmosphere in the home began to change. A palpable tension settled in. The air grew heavy, thick with a silence that felt watchful. The mother started feeling an overwhelming sense of dread when she was alone in the house, a primal urge to leave, to get out. She'd find herself standing in the backyard, heart pounding, without a clear memory of why she had rushed outside. Driven by a growing unease, the father decided to take matters into his own hands. He was a skeptic, a man of logic and reason. He bought a simple digital voice recorder, convinced he could debunk the growing fear in his own home. His plan was straightforward. He would leave the recorder running in the quiet of the night, in the empty living room. He was sure it would pick up nothing but the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of an old house settling. That night, the family went to bed early, the house enveloped in an unusually profound silence. It was as if the house itself was holding its breath. The father placed the recorder on the coffee table, pressed record, and the little red light glowed in the darkness like a watchful eye. The next morning, he retrieved the device. His hands were steady, his mind rational. He sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee, his wife hovering nervously behind him. He pressed play. For the first hour, it was exactly what he expected: silence, a distant car, the house groaning softly. He was about to shut it off, a smug "I told you so" on his lips, when he heard it. A whisper. It was faint, so faint it was almost swallowed by the static. He turned up the volume, his heart beginning to thud against his ribs. He played it again. There it was. A child's voice, soft and impossibly clear, whispering a single, chilling question. "Are you awake?" The blood drained from his face. His wife gripped his shoulder, her knuckles white. The recording had been made long after everyone was asleep. The house had been empty. This single recording shattered their reality. It was no longer a game, no longer their imagination. They had captured something. Something that shared their space, something that was now communicating. They became obsessed. Night after night, they left the recorder running. And night after night, the presence responded. The whispers grew clearer, more frequent. They weren't just random sounds, they were answers. The entity began to interact. They would ask a question aloud, and on the recording, they would later find a response. They asked, "What is your name?" The reply, after a long silence, was a raspy, guttural whisper. "Forgotten." They asked, "Why are you here?" The voice, filled with a sorrow that seemed to seep from the speakers, whispered back, "I am lost." But the most terrifying moment was yet to come. The little girl was now having vivid nightmares screaming about the man in the hat, standing at the foot of her bed. Desperate, the father took the recorder into her room one night. He didn't speak. He just let it run. The playback the next day was the stuff of pure nightmares. For the first few hours, just the soft, rhythmic sound of their daughter's breathing. Then, a new sound. A faint, shuffling footstep on the wooden floor. It stopped near the bed. A long, agonizing silence followed. And then, a voice, deep, rasping, and dripping with malice, spoke not a whisper, but a clear, commanding sentence directly over the sleeping child. "This one is mine." The family was now living in a state of sheer terror. Their home was no longer a sanctuary. It was a prison, its warden an invisible, malevolent force that had set its sights on their child. The man in the hat was not imaginary. He was real, and he had just declared his intent. They knew they had to do something drastic. They brought in a team. Experts in the field of paranormal investigation, equipped with more than just a simple recorder. They set up infrared cameras, EMF detectors to measure energy fluctuations, and highly sensitive ambient microphones. This was their last hope, to understand what they were dealing with and how to reclaim their home and their daughter. The investigation began at nightfall. The house was dark, quiet. The family waited outside, huddled in their car, while the team went inside. The footage from that night is some of the most chilling ever captured. The EMF meters spiked violently in the little girl's room for no reason. The infrared cameras caught fleeting, human-shaped cold spots moving through the hallways. But the audio was the true horror. Through the sensitive microphones, they could hear the entity moving, pacing. And then, it began to speak. It was no longer just whispering. It was holding a conversation with the empty air, its voice a low, angry rumble. It spoke of anger, of being trapped, of a time long past. It referred to the family as intruders. And then, as the lead investigator stood in the hallway, bravely asking questions into the silence, a voice spoke back, not through a recorder, but directly into the room, a guttural, bone-shaking roar that came from everywhere at once. "Get out!" The voice was so powerful, so full of hate, that it distorted the microphone's audio. At that exact moment, every camera in the house flickered and died. The investigation was over. The entity had drawn a line. What happened to this family? Did they escape? Did they find a way to silence the man in the hat and free their daughter from his spectral grip? Or did the malevolent presence finally make good on its terrifying promise? The answers lie in the evidence they left behind. The whispers in the dark, the final, thunderous command, the truth hidden in the static. The full story, and the harrowing recordings that prove it, are waiting for you. But be warned, once you hear these sounds, you cannot unhear them. They will linger in your mind, and perhaps make you question the next time you hear a whisper in the night, or feel a sudden, unexplained chill. What do you think this entity was? A lost soul, or something far more sinister? We want to hear your opinion. After witnessing this evidence, leave your comments below. What would you have done if this was your home?